Here with the one and only Dr. Mulder. What's up, brother?
Oh, everything's well. Everything's well. I'm up here in the Midwest taking care of some business. It's been a little, yeah, it's been reasonably warm for this time of the year, I guess, for this part of the country. And so, yeah, I guess we're probably going to be getting a storm in pretty soon from what I can tell. Looks like the clouds are starting to roll in. So what can I
Oh
say?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's
yeah,
exactly how it is out here where we're at.
yeah.
And I mean, there's sometimes I look at the weather and I think, ooh, do I want to try to get my hands and paws and do it with radionics? And other times it's like, do your thing and let the animals enjoy it all. As long
Yeah.
as it's not snow. I'm kind of a
I'm,
selfish person now about snow, kind of about
yeah.
me.
Yeah, I've been around snow enough when I lived up in Youngstown, Ohio, at one time, and
Ooh.
that was enough for me. I prefer the South. I'm just no offense to the North, but no choice. That's where I would be. But
Hey
anyway,
man, we're just trying to stay cool here, man. We're just trying to stay cool. But
exactly.
yeah,
Go ahead.
we've had a few questions that have just come in, and so I just figured we could address them. I know that we've addressed some of them before, but for the fun of it, we're just gonna get hot and hop
Okay.
right into it. And the first
Sure.
question was about just the vampire boxes in general,
Hmm.
and just maybe an operation or two, or just kind of ways that you see the use of it to be, badass.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that was sort of a creation of Charles Casamano's. That he kind of gave me the criteria of what I needed or what he needed to do, and I just went ahead and kind of engineered the thing, made it fairly simple to operate and what have you. But I that's one of those few instruments that I build that doesn't have any dials to it, and so it's a lot of it's the interaction between the operator and the witness samples that you use in an operation. It's a strange device due to the fact that the amount of the amount of interaction it has with the operator that's non-mechanical or non tactile or non-response. There's no really the only physical interaction the operator has with that machine is putting the samples. Put one sample in the input slot, which is contains the energy or whatever the things that you may try to transfer to the target,
Hmm.
and you put that on top of the machine, and with the intent of transferring energy from point A to point B, and in the middle of that's amplified, and what have you. But a lot of that, it's a very interactive machine when it comes with the operator. Uh,
Hmm.
that's what I look at there. But yeah, some of the examples that I think you've given many times before. I know it's going to sound like a repeat for all the people who've watched the show before. Hopefully, we'll come with some new stuff or something that'll get blabbed out here. But I mean, for example, it's the old analogy I used of say you want to, you're in muscle training, for example. You would have two things. You'd have, say, something of I used Arnold Schwarzenegger, like when he was like Mr. Universe or whatever it
Hmm.
was, and he was like at his peak, and and won all these contests, and he was sort of a at the time a what would be considered a excellent specimen of bodybuilding. Okay,
Hmm.
so you'd have that, including the target, which would be yourself or whoever it is that you're trying to transfer that energy to.
Hmm.
You put the target of Arnold Schwarzenegger or the bodybuilder into the input slot, which is on the side of the machine, and then you put the target where you want this energy to go to on the top of the machine. It's like a copper plate on the top. You put that right on the top, and turn it on, and let it do its business. Let it do its job. And like I said, not Josh, JS and yourself, you guys have used these machines many times, and apparently, the things that you guys have come up with have been, really, pretty fast, fantastic and fascinating. So, it's kind of turned the tables here. Okay, uh, for all your experiences with a vampire machine,
Yeah.
what do you consider the top? I mean, one of your best experiments.
So what I've been doing right now is I have two of the boxes, and one of them, because I used to put in the input to take the energy from a spirit, whatever I was trying to get better at, proficient with, or have the energy, and then put myself on the top. But as I was thinking about it, well, I want to build not a vampiric connection, so I would rather have two boxes. So one, for example, the sun given to a spirit for energy, and I keep it on that box. And then with that connecting cord, I put into another box where it's that spirit's energy with my drop of blood on that sigil, and then me on the top. So it's a whole cycle of that energy in and through me. But the thing about that I really like about doing that method versus the other one, it's always on, off, on, off. The energy can constantly be going to this entity. And when I don't want that energy funneled into me, because I have, dude, I love that machine so much. I can get so much more, I could get less sleep and get more stuff done with it on, and then turn it off. And then like an hour later, feel like, okay, I'm calmed down. Absolutely doing it that way, and I'm in more of a control with two boxes, and then exactly, I have more energy because the box is continually going, having the two into the connection. Now, I definitely have to say, like, if you're the one getting your energy sapped, which I was throughout the night, I would change it up and then have another thing to build energy, and then pull this out. So, constantly experimenting and building up energy. But there was one time I got an input of myself with blood on the input, and I didn't know it wasn't out of there, and I just threw the sun in the bottom, and then I put the projection and the energy on the top, and I went to sleep. I felt worse getting 10 hours of sleep with me in that box the whole next day than I felt when I was getting 4 hours or 5 hours of sleep and then waking up and then turning on the box, having that energy at me. So I definitely can speak that thing is a brute. And I don't even have the evolved version of it, which I'm going to eventually get. And so, I mean, anyone who is, especially the simplicity, I will have to give it to you. Like, it doesn't get any easier than what is the energy that we are trying to pull from, and what is the objective to where the energy is going, and flip a switch. Because the wish machines and Genesis boxes and all that, it does take this form of trusting yourself, and some people don't have that trust built up in themselves. So besides that, that can be the only limiting belief. But this machine, dude, you flip the switch, put it in the right place, you're done. It's just know where you're putting it. Energy in the bottom, yourself on the top. You're good. You're off to the races.
Exactly. Yeah, I've seen similar configurations like that, and like in the book, Mind Machines You Can Build by, I think it was G. Harry Stein, and I think that was like one of the original, or one of the best books I could find before Charles Casamano published any of his stuff. And they had a similar unit in there. I think they either named it the wishing machine, or I think he called it the wishing machine. It was that simple. It was really, in a lot of ways, it was sort of like the vampire machine. And it goes back to, it's the intent of the operator. The operator is the key piece in this thing. If you don't have the operator involved in this, it's not going to operate as, it's really not going to function, very well. But you got to have that intent of what you're doing. When you put those items there, just the practice of actually physically doing that is, and then you're projecting your intent into the machine, and it picks up on it for whatever reason. That right there still stumps me. I still can't figure that one out either. I built damn things. I still can't figure it out.
Well, I had a piece of organite my buddies made, and I didn't know my friend was someone that makes like pyramid organite, and like that's one of the big things he does, and it's badass. And how much conducting energy you can put into it without plugging anything in or whatever the case. But I did a ritual where I was projecting an individual's spirit into it, and then doing like mantras of Kali to basically emphasize of like destruction while their spirit is caught in there. Pretty hardcore. And the thing wasn't clear. But after I was done, I just put it down, and I had to take off my glove because, I'm projecting all this negative energy. And so when you put baneful stuff on, whatever. And 3 days later, I finally pick it up, clean it off, and look at it. And this thing has a square in the inside of it now of like a capturing a square. Like it's like so much like it imploded. It looks like inside this thing imploded. And I'm just
Really?
thinking, yeah. And I'm just thinking, if energy can do that to crystal, then of course these radionics boxes work, because you're literally just funneling that exact frame of frequency from your brain into the crystals. Only difference
Right.
is there's electricity empowering it.
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly. I mean, like I said, it works. We don't know why, but it works.
It
That was,
does.
yeah, exactly. So, but what can I say? I think that's really some of the things, that I don't know if we covered in as much detail as before. And again, it's just, so hopefully I answered your question there, or we were able
Yeah,
to answer your
yeah,
question. Okay.
yeah, 100%.
So, okay. So
And
go ahead. Sorry.
oh, I was gonna say, yeah, another question was just, what is radionics? I know we get it a lot, but for the
Yeah.
viewers, I'd love to be able to hear, yeah, just kind of a little bit of the history and why radionics is so important.
What is radionics? Yeah, that question kind of comes up a lot, especially, you get interviews and they go like, what the hell is this? And I basically, what I tell them is it's sort of a physical interface between you and reality. And radionics, all these dials or what have you, it's kind of like as you turn these dials on these machines, it's like you're tuning into a radio station. You're fine tuning into, a situation, and it has a certain energetic value to it. And as you tune these machines, you'll whether or not it has numbers, that really doesn't make any difference, I found. But as you tune these machines, you're tuning into a situation or something that you wish to manifest. And again, I think these, 25 words or less is just a physical interface between you and reality. And and again, people have asked me this question: well, how the hell does this stuff work? And I had to come up with some kind of a physical experiment or some kind of experiment that's been done that you know that scientifically would work. And I keep going back, and I think we probably mentioned this numerous times before on your show. The double slit experiment. In the double slit experiment, 25, very simple way of answering it is that when things are not observed or measured, they behave like energy. In other words, they exist, but they don't exist. But when they are observed or measured, they go back to behaving like matter again, like particles, physical things. And what I come to the conclusion is that these machines are basically observers. You set it, the energy signature for a certain thing to occur, and when you do this, this machine is working 24/7, projecting your intent into the environment, into the ether, to basically hack into reality and make things happen that normally will not happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I think, it's a simple way of doing it. And the stuff that we do with radionics now is nothing like what happened back in the old days. I mean, I know you want to talk about Albert Abrams, the guy who invented the stuff. Do you want to talk about him now, or
Yeah,
do you want to talk about him later?
yeah,
Okay.
well, go ahead.
Okay, sure. All right. In the early days of the 20th century, I think like 1910, 1913, somewhere in that
Yeah.
neighborhood. All right. Yeah, there's this guy. He was a famous neurologist out of San Francisco, and his name was Dr. Albert Abrams. And for whatever reason, he's sort of a tinkerer, and he had variable capacitors in his office or in his laboratory. And what a variable capacitor is, it's sort of like a dimmer switch. You turn it one way, the lights will get dimmer. You turn it another way, the lights will get brighter. And what that was basically, it was the resistance. You turn it one way, the resistance gets higher, and the light will dim because it, is this switch or this variable resistor is limiting the amount of power that's going to that light or going to that load. All right, you turn it another way, it's less resistance, and that means more power goes to that loading. It's brighter. Okay, that's what a variable resistor is. Anyway, he had these things in there, and I don't know what the heck he was thinking, but he was, I guess somewhere in his mind he was thinking, well, I'm working on all these illnesses, because he did a lot of experiments where, for example, he noticed that a healthy organ, when you tap it, would sound entirely different than a diseased organ. And to
Mhm.
this day, I think he's the guy that invented this method. And I really don't know the name of this particular medical procedure off the top of my head. But if you've ever had a physical and you had the doctor tap your abdomen, I don't know if you ever had that happen before,
Yeah, yeah,
whatever
yeah,
for
yeah.
work. Okay, what he was usually what he taps is the liver. Okay, and if the liver is healthy, it'll sound one way. If it's diseased, it'll sound another way. So I guess in his mind, he's put together, all right, this there's a different frequency here, or what have you, and one of these variable resistors that they're used like in the same kind of technologies used for radios, like in tuning and that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
so for the old time radios, and so he kind of put these two, one and one together made two, and so he started checking people with diseases, and he would tune the machine to get one rating for a particular organ. And if he tuned like for a healthy person, with a healthy organ, he'd get another rating. He's like, or get another position on the dials. And it's like, okay, what the hell's going on here, right? And so, but he did a lot of experiments on this thing, and so he got the bright idea. This is where he got in trouble. He got the bright idea. We was thinking, well, if a diseased organ has a certain signature or a certain position on the dial or a certain value, if I do the exact opposite, logic tells me that I would be able to cure that disease. I would neutralize it. I would make it the exact opposite, make it from unhealthy to healthy. And in a nutshell, that's what he did. And apparently, he was getting results from this, and that's where the medical problems came in, and it
Mhm.
really caused a lot of havoc with a lot of people. And so, that's how he got in trouble. And I think they accused him of medical quackery and this kind of a thing. And that was really sort of one of the dark times for radionics. And because of that, I personally suggest people I don't discuss health issues. I think I mentioned that many times, and it's because of that kind of thing. Because that will get you in trouble. That will,
Mhm.
especially in this country, that will get you in trouble. And but yeah, that's really the long and the short of it of what Albert Abrams did. And then other people picked up on the idea. I think there was a gentleman by the name of his last name was Hieronymus, and I've been by his cottage up in the northern Georgian mountains. Uh, and it's like a little mountain town, and this place is like I said, it's just a little mountain college or a
Mhm.
cottage, just a little house there off the beaten path, and this guy was he got into radionics in such a way where he was actually able to figure out the like the blood pressure, heart rate, and that kind of a thing for astronauts, remotely. When he was working in conjunction, I
Wow.
think, with NASA back in the early days, and they being able to remotely, figure out what these, the health conditions of these astronauts from thousands of miles
Dude, that's
away
crazy.
in
That
space.
is
Yeah,
nuts.
yeah, that's one of the things he was doing, and so that's kind of you know, that's been one of the stories that has been pushed around here, and he was the first person to ever have any kind of patents with radionics, and his Hieronymus is his last name. The first name, even though I've been by his house, his first name escapes me. But anyway, that's sort of a brief history of how radionics got started. But a lot of it has been behind the quiet voices saying this.
Yeah.
Hey, I heard about this device and it'll do this. I heard about this device, it'll do that. And a lot of it was either based on rumor or a legend. But now we've gotten to the point where people are more open-minded to this tech and more
Yeah.
open-minded to the fact that reality can be altered using it. And
Yeah.
so I mean that's what you do in magic. I mean, when you do a spell, do you not are you not trying to alter somebody's reality? When you do a spell for somebody, you're projecting your intent with a little help from your friends, quote unquote,
Mhm.
to actually make things happen that normally wouldn't happen. Am I
Yeah.
right or wrong? Yeah,
Exactly. Exactly.
yeah,
It's just like that double slit experiment. Only it's with magic. It's with candles. It's with changing your conscious state. And so like when I see radionics, it feels like in the next 15 years, next 5 years for magicians, just like Charles Cosimano was talking about. But 15 years, I could see it almost like a people wake up in their day and just like any appliance, like a refrigerator or like an oven. I feel like a radionics box would be like a part of the house. Like everyone, like starting off your day, you dial that in, okay, and just like different way, dude. Everyone was doing that. Like that would be some hardcore frequency of golden age. So I don't know. It just seems so logical. Like it's when, like I said, like with the vampire boxes and cycling that energy, like just for that sake, I can't dial into exactly everything else that's done, but I am gonna be writing about it, so everyone will definitely have to see that when that eventually comes out. But it definitely upgrades your life in every single way, and which brings me to the next question, which I know we get this a lot, but wealth. What you would do, what you have done for wealth, and then I'll let people know kind of what I've been doing and what's crazy about it.
Okay, yeah, wealth is sort of a case by case basis. I guess it would depend on what your profession is and what you're trying to accomplish. Some people, they're salespeople. They make their money off of commissions. So, the thing would be, hey, I want to sell a certain amount of merchandise for within a certain time period. So I can create this amount of money, and at this point. I mean, the simple thing I noticed for me personally, it's just me personally, okay? Other people may be entirely different. It's just me personally. I don't really wish for the money or exact value of money on these machines. I wish for what I want to use the money for.
Yeah.
Okay, that is the thing. I don't wish for the money to buy a new car. I simply wish for the car. Okay, and you'll be surprised. A lot of things will open up for you. You may get an inheritance from that, from that aunt that you long forgotten, or somebody may have a good deal on a vehicle. It's just too good for you to pass, and you just happen to have that amount of money in the bank. That kind of a thing. It's just a million different things that can happen, with that, and that's how I normally operate. I'll give you an example here. I'm working on a couple of things, and I've always been interested in cryptocurrency. And I know it's a little bit off subject, but I think you'll get my point. I've always been interested in cryptocurrencies because it fascinates the hell out of me. What it is, because it truly shows me what money, how does money get its value? And I realize it's real simple. We give it its value. Okay, that's how it works. I mean, that piece of paper you carry in your pocket, that with those numbers on it. The only reason, in reality, it's just a piece of paper with numbers on it. But because people around you give it value, you're able to take that piece of paper and buy gas, buy food, buy clothes, whatever it may be. All right, and that's because other people, we all accept it as having a certain amount of value. And that's the reason why it's worth that. And then you say, well, okay, I get that. So how the hell does a cryptocurrency have value? It's real simple. We give it value. Bitcoin, the granddaddy of it, the reason why it's the lead dog on the chart. The reason why it's worth the most, because it's the very first thing that ever happened when it came to the blockchain and creating cryptocurrency. Now, how does all this have to do with radionics? Well, I wanted to figure out and I always had this idea, and I just didn't know how to make this turn it into reality because I didn't have the skill set to do it. I wanted to be able to create an algorithm because if you look at any kind of cryptos, they'll go up, they'll go down, they'll go up, they go down. They'll do it real fast. It has a lot of volatility. And I wanted to be able to capitalize on that. I wanted to be able, like during the day, do multiple buys and sells. In other words, if it goes up, sell it. When it goes down, buy it back, and I'll get a few more coins or additional value from buying it back at a cheaper price. And then when it goes up, sell, wash, rinse, or goes down, or buy it back and wash, rinse, and repeat. And I want to do this with a basically an algorithm, a robot, a program, something that works on a computer where it has certain perimeters and it goes back and forth, back and forth. And I set a machine for this. I said I wanted to figure out a better way of doing these trades where it'd be a lot easier for me to do. And here's what happened. Within a matter of a couple of weeks, a good friend of mine happens to be one of the top traders in the entire country. And when it comes to building algorithms and knowing and just instinctively knowing how to trade. And a little side note, he was the first man to ever purchase one of my machines using Bitcoin. Because
Wow.
I
Yeah.
practice what I preach. I will sell machines for Bitcoin. I will gladly sell machines for cryptocurrency. I
You
won't even
heard
think
it.
twice.
You heard it
Yeah.
right here, right now, everyone.
Yeah, so if you got some Bitcoin laying around and you want to buy a machine from your Bitcoin profits, I'm the man to, just give me a ring a ding, and I will be more than happy to make this work out for you. But yeah, I've done it several times, and I rather take crypto than take cash. To be honest with you, that's how enthusiastic I am about it. But the point of this, I set a machine to create. Okay, I want to be able to find a better way to trade. And all of a sudden, this guy he comes up with this great idea. He's teaching people how to do an algorithm, and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I can take away my time from building machines and learn how to do this. But I knew another guy who happened to be an engineer, and I went ahead and said, "Hey, man, this is more your skill set than is mine. Or would you be interested?" And he's getting to the point in his life where he needs to make some serious changes for his retirement and that kind of thing for the benefit of his family. And he said, "Hell yeah, let me check into this." So he went through the entire course. And he said, "Well, hey, I still got some questions." And I thought, well, I'm good friends with this guy that started this thing. Let me go get a hold of him. Well, lo and behold, those two got together on the phone. They hit it off. So basically, I brought this guy, got him a seat at the table of one of the top traders in the country, and they're sitting there right now. They're designing. He's asking the kind of questions that somebody that's not familiar with the subject would ask, and they're getting together and they're going to build a better mousetrap, working together. And that was radionics. That was me setting on an intention, turning a few dials to find a better way of doing this. And damn, I got one of my friends that's local working on the phone with one of the top guys in the country in this thing, and it's like they're just like hitting it off and getting ready to do something really, really special. And this is just the kind of things, and hell, just sending a few texts back and forth, knowing the right people, and utilizing a good idea. And this is the kind of things that me personally, I was using radionics to create wealth. I had to be, some people may say, I don't know anything about crypto. What the hell? I don't want to invest in stuff. I'm not a trader. It's not the kind of thing I want to do for a living. Hey, that's fine. It's good. But the point of it is, follow your dream, follow your passion. Use these machines to help you, open up doors and opportunities to make that passion become a physical reality. That's
Hmm.
my best advice. I know it's a long-winded way of saying what I'm trying to do is just give the audience what happened to me, what I
Yeah.
did, you know, and that's how it worked out for me. And like I said, turn a few dials, set that intention to the universe, and damn, look what happens. I get all these people together, and we're creating something that we're building a better mousetrap and making something that's really, really unique.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When you're putting that intent and your intent into the machine, it's just you and the machine. And that's
Mm-hmm.
something I really want people to prone in on and get that across. You don't
Right.
have to work with anything else other than yourself. This
Mm-hmm.
thing is a device to help you as a practitioner, you as an individual just living your every single day life. Just
Mm-hmm.
putting your intent in the machine, turning on the switch. And I like, you said you just you give it weeks, and that's something too. People get a little impatient because we're the microwave society, we're the Instagram formula
Yeah.
XY ding ding.
The drive-through society. Yeah, we want our.
Yeah,
That's just, yeah, I got you. Yeah,
right
well,
now,
good
right
now.
now. And
Yeah.
but beautiful plans come together, and for myself when it comes to wealth, one of them was Santolak was able to help me have a bigger grand vision of kind of all the goals and things which I'm doing, not just like next few months, but like couple years out. And having that on for months, as longer it's on, the bigger the vision is, and I understand what I'm doing with precision. So it's like, of
Hmm.
course, this is making sense. And then for Klonek, he's another spirit from the Goetia, and he helps just get random jobs and different things. And I've had that on for now a couple weeks, and I've already been able to procure different little small jobs and tasks from
Mm-hmm.
random people, just random things. But it's like, wow, that's a badass. And then when I had the Spirit Belphegor, it seemed
Mm-hmm.
like everything in my life, I was getting discounts constantly.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting, oh, wow, this is a treasure. I didn't know I had this. I can sell this for $25, easy, something like that. And it was just like small increments of money. And then with the Master Key, J.S. Garrett's symbol his for Shimyaza, just having that for wealth,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
helped me meet the right people and find out the skills I need to prone in on, become
Right.
sharper at, so then I can
Right.
be able to continue to expand meeting the right people, which has helped me save so much money. It's from hiring people to help out with the show, using props, X, Y, and Z. Money being saved is money being earned, in my opinion.
Exactly. Exactly.
And so just by a few flips of the switches, with a spirit, just knowing what its background is and what your intention is, once again, plugging that into the machine, and voila, what time. And that's what just blows my mind about it too. There's
Mm-hmm.
different ways of it. There's different flows of materialization for the manifestations, like, okay, after this a little bit of time, I see the breadcrumb. Okay, I know more and more is coming. And it's just, I mean, dude, that's the fascinating thing about magic and these machines, it's that flipping the switch at the end of the spell, like, that was awesome. And that is just echoing on nonstop, it's like, let's get some more going on.
Right, exactly, and again, be patient. Uh, one of my, I would say this is one of the biggest projects I ever worked on for a single human being. And I've mentioned this before. It was somebody who was trapped in the Middle East, and it was an American, and they're apparently they were being accused of something back home from the place they came from, and they went through they had to go to the American embassy over this particular country to get something renewed on their passport or status or something, and they confiscated this person's passport. They said, well, you're basically a fugitive from the law, and the only way that you can come back to the United States is under the guard of federal officers, federal marshals, and they're like, what? So basically, they were trapped in a Middle Eastern country, again in America, with no documents whatsoever, and they had to use their wit to try to survive, to be able to get a job, to have a place to live, yada yada yada, and it made them very streetwise, or made this person very streetwise. But the thing about they bought a machine and said, hey, I want to get the charges dropped. I want to be able to get my passport back and all this stuff. And I said, okay. And again, I figured, oh, this is going to be an easy one. Come on, this got to be easy. Well, it wasn't so easy because this person was on a hot list for Interpol. The state, the state that this person came from had a warrant out for their arrest. Immediately arrest them once they were spotted. And so I mean, it's even like on the Fed hot sheet, with the FBI and this other stuff. And I'm thinking, oh boy, have I walked into a giant turd. Okay, all right. And so, but anyway, I went ahead and did everything I could, set up machines, and it seemed like you get real close, and then it just gets snatched away, real close, and it gets snatched away. And it's like, hell, everything I was trying to do, it seemed like it was getting neutralized, or it was just screwing up somehow. Well, what happened? 2 years later, this person, the chain of events, they got a new district attorney in, from what I understand. She got a new lawyer in that area who went ahead and said, hey, this is a victimless crime. No money was stolen from anybody. Nobody was physically injured. There was no injury to anybody. It's a victimless crime. Can you drop the charges? They finally wound up with a sympathetic judge, and they went ahead and went through the motions and dropped the arrest warrants, cleared up their cleared up everything with Interpol, the FBI, got everything, a clean slate basically. All charges dropped. And again, this thing, this entire procedure from the time I started to the time that ended was like 2.5, maybe 3 years. I mean, finally, when they finally physically had their passport in their hand, was probably 3 years later.
Wow.
But the point of this is, this kind of situation, they're lucky as hell to have gotten that far. I mean, it took a couple years to do this, but all the events that had to happen, this is a giant, colossal cluster fornication, and everything, things that had to turn, that had to kind of be tweaked a little bit in order to make this become a reality. It took time for that to happen, and it finally happened. Okay, so yeah, you have to be patient on some things. I mean, the more moving parts, the more things have to change, probably the more difficult it's going to be. I mean, if you're trying to just go down to the bank and get a bank loan, that's a hell of a lot simpler than trying to get freaking federal and state and international charges dropped against you. To stop being wanted by mostly the entire civilized world, where you're basically a wanted person. I mean, how the hell do you do this? You're a freaking fugitive. You're not really a and so it's just one of those things where it takes time and it takes effort. And I just want to give, and really, that's a true story. That's exactly what happened to me. And that did teach me patience, and it did teach me that some things, yes, some things do take time. And that's what happened here.
Yeah. And, the patience aspect on the whole production I'm working on, I've seen that the right people, the right props and the right vision have been able to happen as an evolving. I mean, with this machine's just been on to help out the whole entire project and the whole entire vision of it. And yeah, everything hasn't. I thought it was going to be done in a year and a half. Seeing it's going to be more about 3 years, for the 4 years for the entire thing. But the proficiency, the effectivity, the understanding exactly lights, how to captivate, how much the scene has to change every few seconds, the color, the tense, the angle. Like, I have never dreamed I'd be doing what I'm doing right now, and meeting the people in my city that I'm meeting right now, and getting involved in all these different aspects that, as a person, someone could say, oh, I just need this and this to happen. Well, to make a little wave. Well, if you want to make a massive wave, you got to connect a spider's web and see that whole thing. Otherwise, it's just going to be, all right, good luck, a firework. Do you want to be a firework or a bonfire? And, we're going for the bonfire, but it's just that momentum, that constant momentum. And that's, it's been beautiful, man. Honestly, the Radionics boxes, and whether it's the fast materialization of things, and like what I noticed working with spirits, if I use my Wishbox 2.0 versus my Genesis, I do see a difference in how quickly things come about, and more magnitude things can be changed in like a week versus, I don't know, I'd say like 3 weeks to 4 weeks, the 2.0. Now, at the end of the day, things are getting done, things are being taken care of, and just getting that involved in your life is also cleaning up any extra static of BS going on around you, even that you're not aware about. Like, it just cleans it up, man.
I agree with you. I agree with you. And I mean, it's a fascinating thing, and you wonder, okay, how come is it that I'm able to get so much better performance like from the Genesis 2.0? I mean, that thing is souped up. That is, that has a lot of, a lot of what I've learned, it's like including the kitchen sink is throwing that into that machine, right? And I mean, how come is it more effective than say the regular wishing machine, which is a non-dial machine? And again, I have twice the amplification in the Genesis. I have additional crystals involved in this thing, and there's a lot of other variables that they're in the mix here to make it more effective. And but do they all work? Hell yeah, they all work. Some are just more powerful and more effective at altering your reality than others. And I'm not trying to sell anybody up on a machine or anything like that. I'm just stating a fact. That's just the way it is.
It is. It really is just the way it is. And another of the questions now it's not specifically about the machine, but when it came to that UFO that you've
Oh,
had manifest, did you just use a 2.0 and then did you just give it a week in advance? Because I used a Genesis about 2 days before the time I wanted to see it, and I actually didn't have anything occur. So I just didn't know what I'm
oh.
doing wrong on my end, or if I don't believe enough that I'm not gonna make a UFO happen.
Well, I was working on that particular project. The first thing in trying to materialize a UFO, I was working with Joshua P. Warren. Okay, you got Joshua P. Warren on that. You have his energy, his intent on this for this thing to happen. He gets, gets on Coast to Coast, or he gets George Norrie to kind of throw his intent into the mix also, by giving a special message to whoever's up there listening. Hey, we welcome you to our planet, yada yada, something along
Yeah.
that line. And so we got those two guys working on this thing. Then I come in the mix about a month. He asked me to do this about a month before the day that they were going to have the camera set out over in Puerto Rico and looking up in the sky to do this. So I had this, and I think I told you before. All I had was basically a flash drive as a digital data, a digital version of the signal at a specific frequency. I think it was either 430 or 432 hertz or something along that line. The location, the longitude and the latitude of where this camera was going to be, that Josh was going to set this thing up. And all I did, I put those two items on there along with the intent to be able to pick up or be able to photograph a UFO. And so I had all these three items on the copper plate, tuned the machine for this particular day, this particular time, this particular location for a UFO to appear and to be captured on camera. So go through all this. I took the basically the location only. I think is what I used. I think it was the location only is what I took off of the copper plate and put onto the plastic plate. I think that's what I used. It's either that or the written intent of a UFO. It was one or the other, something along that line. Mm-hmm. So like I said, tune the machine, switch over the item, representing the target onto the plastic plate, and let her rip. And that was it. That's all I did. Nothing more, nothing less. And the rest is history. And I think we mentioned this before. I think it's called the AreciboProject.com. I think it's where he has this thing documented at. Within a matter, I think the day it took like within 6 or 7 hours of the rolling camera on that location for that thing to drop down out of the sky. Like I said, it looked like an acorn. It was acorn shaped UFO, along with what appeared, along with a audio anomaly, that was put into the feed to his tech guy Mobius over in North Carolina, and that's how that happened. But I got, again, I think that was kind of a special circumstance. Where I got George Norrie involved in this. The audience finds out about it. It's put in their mind. You got Joshua out there. He's got his intent because he doesn't. He wants to be successful. He wants to be able to film this thing because hey, it's going to make him look good, right?
Yeah.
And so. Yeah, so we get all this together, and that it actually happens on that day, and we're able to capture it with a camera, both video and audio. Wow. And oh yeah, and I think the second one he did was Sault Ste. Marie. They had some kind of a UFO, or no, it's a paranormal conference of some kind. Dave Schrader was up there. I think he was one of the headliners, along with Joshua P. Warren for that thing, and my goal was to produce a UFO for the crowd to see, basically so they could go outside, look up in the sky from the parking lot, and actually see something on a particular day, on a particular time. And damn if it didn't happen. They saw it, and I think I had that machine up and running like 3 to 4 weeks before the event. It was a similar situation.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. Time, patience, intent, and the longitude, latitude. That's something I did not have. I just said that I would see. And I looked at the clouds and I just thought to myself, hell, how do I know there's not one right there invisible in front of me?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Choose your words wisely, right?
Exactly. Yeah, just like spells, man. You got to be very specific about how you want certain things to go. It's not exactly like that, but you have your intent and you have
Right.
your don't have X, Y, and Z happen, but everything else is on the table.
Right.
'Cause otherwise, if you say you really need $10,000, hopefully you're okay with a car crash.
Yeah, it's kind of like the monkey's paw. Be careful what you wish. You wish for money, then your loved one dies, and get an insurance policy, right? You don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly. That's
yeah.
actually why I like to work with spirits, just because I feel like I hit that on that level to where it's like, all right, we both understand and then their hands in it versus, if I'm over here, my will be done. Ah!
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
I'm looking at my hand becoming Darth Vader as I speak.
yeah,
But I just had
yeah.
one more question,
Sure, go right ahead.
and this isn't even about radionics, maybe unless yours is involved, but they wanted to know what our scariest paranormal experiences happened to us.
Oh, for me, Gates of Hell Cemetery, Elizabethtown, Kentucky, hands down, no ifs, ands, or buts. I've been on Bigfoot hunts. I've been to Waverly Hills in Louisville, Kentucky. I appreciate the fact, like, it was kind of I like the architecture of the building. I thought it was really great. But did I really see anything that was creepy or anything like that? No, me personally, I didn't. I wasn't. It doesn't mean it didn't exist. It's just I didn't pick up on anything when I was there. Okay. But I kind of look at it, the place has been, cleaned out. They're trying to make some renovations, make sure, it's safe for, for the, people that want to tour the place, do their own investigations. And God only knows how many investigations have been done over the years over at Waverly Hills. And I wonder if that may have either taken away from it or maybe kind of, maybe the ghost got a little pissed off and they really don't want to perform like a circus, like do a circus trick for the, for all the, for the audience, that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But but uh, Waverly Hills has nothing over that place, Gates of Hell Cemetery, or I thought it was Hell's Gate, but I guess it's Gates of Hell Cemetery. Anyway, it's some kind of a gate that deals with hell. Okay, and and, uh, and so yeah, I went over there. That place is creepy. I refuse to stay there by myself. I don't care if it's daylight, sun, or nighttime. I refuse to go there by myself. Even if I got people around me, I still don't like it. I still makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up because as soon as you get there, you have this feeling you're being watched. As soon as you get there, you immediately have this feeling that something's watching you. And so yeah, I've seen a lot of weird stuff. Uh, I think there was like one. I tell you one event there. I don't know if I ever talked to anybody about it before, but have you ever heard of the smiley face killer? Have you ever heard that? That's like some kind of serial killers. They'll kill like I don't know, college age men, and they'll find them like in a waterway, like a river or a canal or something, and there always be like somebody would paint a smiley face on either a tree or a rock or something near the scene where they drown. I mean, it looks totally innocent, like they accidentally drown themselves, but there's always that smiley face thing there, and it was kind of creepy, right?
Yeah.
Um, okay, I get there at night, and we pass. We're going by this tree, and a lot of the branches are off by off the thing. And I looked, I didn't see anything unusual. I didn't see, it just looked like a freaking tree to me. Just part of it was just the trunk was pretty much open, to where you could easily see it, right? So we go past the thing, we go in the cemetery and all this stuff, and I had to pass by at least 2 or 3 times, and I didn't notice anything. Again, I didn't notice anything unusual. The third time that I think is the third or fourth time we passed by it, I looked at it and said, "Oh shit! There's a smiley face on this thing." It's like somebody had painted a smiley face on the trunk that was fully exposed, and I swear I don't remember ever seeing that. It would have stood out. Okay, it's like 1 minute it's not there, and the next minute it's there, and I'm thinking, okay, this is a little unsettling, and and I think that was the time also where I started to hear these entities on that ghost box, started describing me, but that thing right there, that was the scariest place I've ever been to, paranormal wise.
Wow.
Per me personally. Yeah.
Now that being watched, mine actually wasn't anywhere I went. It was what I let on to me. And this is why I say be careful of what you yell and what your intention, because at a young age, I learned that what I say out into the universe is an open doorway. And I got
Right.
myself in a very negative place, just mindset, everything else. I wasn't working with any spirits at this time. Like I hadn't worked with any before. I was just kind of, it's when I was kind of rolling out of Christianity. And I just remember all these doors just kept shut and I was just hated my life so much. There's just lots of bullshit going on. So I go on this dirt road and I just yelled out at the top of my lungs, like, if anything wants to come get me, you can come have me and come here now. And like I just yelled that out. And so as time was going on, I was getting more and more depressed and it was harder for me to sleep. And then eventually it started feeling like I was being watched. And when I was hanging out with one of my friends, we were going on this drive and I mean, at the time he was not sober. But as we're driving past this bridge, as it's at nighttime, he looks out the window and just starts screaming and yelling and says, we have to leave, she's here, she's here. And he started explaining this girl, and like he was flipping out. And a couple weeks later, he's hanging out, and we just, hung out for the night. And in the morning, he said, in his dream, this girl was still following him and trying to just chase him away. And he
Hmm.
was just feeling weird about it. And I just kept feeling this weirdness on me, that there is something. And so one night I'm laying there and it hits about 3 a.m. and I just am like, dude, there's something watching because that's something very peculiar. And there's a difference between like having your ancestor or a guardian spirit with you and you feel watched because you feel that warmth. It's another thing that
Yeah.
feels like you're being glared at and there's a nasty intention. And I just remember turning over on the side of my bed, and this girl standing over my bed in this like white gown, like black hair over the face, and I've never seen The Grudge or The Ring or anything.
Right. Right.
And she's just staring there, and I mean that was a terrifying thing, and I had to flip on over, and I tried to ignore the fact that it happened, but I ended up meeting like a clairvoyant, and
Hmm.
I'm on a walk with them, and they're like, I don't know how to tell you this but there is like a undead girl attached to you, and she's just holds on to you, and I could just tell like it's really nasty. And like
Hmm.
that's when I like had to go hardcore in, getting myself cleansed by writing a I forgive myself note, burning it, doing a salt bath, and the white candle, the whole miniature shebang, and to get rid of this thing, but. It got me out of depression and all that, and it just makes me think like how many people are yelling things into the world like, oh, this always happens to me, and then they make
Hmm.
that same energy cycle occur. Like what your intent is, you wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to be affected today, and today's going to be a great day, and like really be just optimistic and have gratitude, and try to keep that intention and energy flowing, in your everyday life, but. Yeah, it definitely makes me wary about what I say out loud. And actually, at the job I'm at right now, this guy lives on a dirt road not too far away, and it's kind of about the same area where I did this walk. And
Hmm.
he says right now he pulled into his house and he saw in his upstairs at night this undead girl staring out and looking down at him, and I was just like, oh shit! Like he told me that 2 days ago, and I was like, well. And now my ears ringing into my left ear. I was like, well, sounds like there might be a part two, episode two, man,
Oh
episode
shit.
two.
I'll pass. I
Yeah.
don't really want all
Hey, dude, I'm ready to go. Hot blooded, can't you
that.
see? Gotta feel. But
Oh no, that's not for me. I'm just you know, like I said, some people like to delve in that stuff. Fantastic, more power to you. I'm sure it's entertaining and it's like a thrill to try to get into the paranormal. And sometimes I kind of feel like, why the hell do you want to tempt fate? Why do you want to mess with something that could mess right back at you? And so I just kind of I keep my distance. I don't mind participating. Providing ways of helping other people do this kind of stuff, I don't mind doing that. Me personally, I don't really. It doesn't really give me a warm fuzzy feeling, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, I it's funny. I beforehand wasn't like this, but
Nah,
after I started getting so involved with it and working with all these different pantheons, not just like some demons or angels or whatever the case, and then learning like the ritual I did for the protective armor,
mhm,
and then I got a hunter killer machine. I'm just kind of like, I can kind of do whatever I want. I
yeah,
got the badge. We're all good, everyone. So, and plus, it's one thing. Like I said, it's intent. I don't want to go somewhere where there's like a spiritual situation going on and being an asshole. It would be, how can I actually help this be beneficial for everyone and move, this negativity towards someone that's super evil, like those serial killers. I've been hearing stories about serial killers that just end up getting life in prison when they've killed 25 people, hurting children, all these other things. It's like, you know what? Stop terrorizing that place. Stop terrorizing that house. Here you go. Have some fun. Shoot, I might even help you out with the radionics box at the beginning. I don't really care, but
yeah, exactly, exactly. And but yeah, it could be a little unique. And I kind of wonder about the Gates of Hell Cemetery. The priest, and I did an interview with him on my channel, the Dr.Mulder show. Uh, his name is Bishop James Long, and he was the guy who actually made it, kind of made this place a little semi-famous. And he told me there's a lot of demonic ceremonies or a lot of satanic rites and that kind of thing that were done up there. And I think the kind of people that were doing this stuff, they really messed that place up. I wonder if they open up some kind of a pathway or channel for, some little goblins or whatever, some ne'er do wells to kind of come through to this side or to this dimension, and they're living there. And I just wonder how the hell this happened. And you and I, we've had discussions off the air about, okay, yeah, there's people that deal with demons, but they have a different attitude about it, and they're doing it for different reasons.
yeah.
Do you have other people out there who just want to see, they're kind of redneck about it, and they just want to see what the hell they can do, and they don't really
Yeah.
give a shit about the aftermath or the damage they may have caused to themselves or to anybody else.
Yeah, and that's kind of when it comes down to image and all that. Some people think of Catholicism and they think about priests and they just think of the evil, the pedophile. When people think of black magician working with certain spirits, demonic or whatever the case may be, they think, oh, they're evil and they're causing harm and they're just trying to do chaos and opening up these BS. And it's like, it's time to help change the philosophy or the sight that people have that's
Mm-hmm.
been it's been tainted, and just people's intention. A couple people there want something crazy to happen, whether it's a Ouija board, whether it's whatever means it is, even if it's just their intent sitting there and they're in a graveyard. Like, there's already a type of energy already there. That's, doesn't matter what graveyard you're at, there is this type of overarching undead resting place, so it's already
Mm-hmm.
kind of got that energy to it. So it's like doing things there, or have it open up a Ouija board inside of your room. Like, if you really don't have your strengths up, like if you're just starting up a fuse of TNT, saying, "Oh, I wonder what this is gonna happen."
Yeah, exactly.
You better hope that no big boys coming around, and then he wants to have a party with you, because then chaos starts, and something huge too. Just like that one guy with the one situation going on, he's been having small things occur, and it's just like the horror movies or everything else. If you start to see and have these type of situations occur that are paranormal,
Mm-hmm.
that you're not comfortable with, that aren't good, and
Mm-hmm.
like, you got to see what you did and then shut that gate. Otherwise, that energy is going to keep building, feeding out the
Mm-hmm.
situations going on, get
Right.
stronger and stronger. So next thing you know, you're running out of your house because the freaking walls are oozing green.
Oh, oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, you got some little girl, her head's spinning around 360 degrees, and she's throwing pea soup at you, vomiting pea soup. But yeah, like I said, these are things that I would say you have to be careful on whatever you do, and they say, well, I think the Christian point of view is, devil worshippers, Satan, a bunch of devil worshippers, a bunch of Satanists, they're talking about, human sacrifice and that kind of a thing. And, some of these people are a little bit off the deep end, when it comes to dealing with the demons. That may be the route that they go. There may be human sacrifices involved in here, and I'm sure this happened throughout history. I know that you and JS, you don't even get anywhere near that bullshit, and so, but people that do, but then again, I got to look on the other side of the coin. The Catholic Church, and you were once a Catholic. There was a sacrament. The wine represents the blood of Christ. The bread represents the flesh. Okay, what the hell is that? That's cannibalism. That's symbolic cannibalism.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'm not trying to step on your toes, but that's exactly what that is.
No, and that's one of the small pieces that kind of pulled me away. There was never anything by any of the literature I had read about any of the spirits I worked with that ever asked for blood or war or anything like that. And yet I'm looking at the Bible, I'm looking at the Torah, I'm looking at I forget the other one's called, but I'm seeing bloodshed. It's do this or else I'm going to come down with wrath, and you should fear me. And it's like I don't really want to vibe with someone I gotta fear. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to be like, it's all good. We're all good.
Yeah, we're all good. Just put me out of this. Like, I don't really want to participate. Yeah, and I get all that, and I understand it. And like I said, I have more of a Christian point of view when it comes to this kind of stuff, and I don't really delve in the kind of entities that you and say JS would delve in. But the thing about it is, you guys also work with angels. I mean, it's I kind of made a joke here. Equal opportunity employers. You'll work with either angels or demons, whatever you think will best work for a particular situation. And I respect that. I mean, I don't, me personally, it's not something that makes me. I don't really get a warm, fuzzy feeling with what you guys do on some of your things. But again, I'm not judgmental. It's just me personally. It's just me personally. And I, more power to you. If it works, fantastic. It's just something, again, doesn't resonate with me. I'd rather be the guy who just turns the dials on a few boxes and make things happen that way,
No, for sure. And that's what I think is really great for everyone in the audience. When you're hearing all these podcasts, you're not only hitting the angle of different spirits and pantheons that you can do, but you can also be a muggle or whatever you want to call yourself. That's someone that's just everyday life. Oh, a couple dials here. Do.
Right.
I'm looking for 15 years. Everyone waking up like their thermostat. Do. Great day. Just hijacking reality.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. I mean, and again, I think it depends on each person's individual belief system. I think I brought up this before. I was doing a guy who was he was out of Greece. I was on Skype with him, and the guy's English was fantastic, even though he was Greek. I mean, he and I just hit it off, and we were discussing. He was asking me a couple of ideas, and I said, well, you live in Greece. One of the biggest things throughout history was Mount Olympus, Zeus, Hercules. I mean, the list goes on and on. Mercury. You got so many different gods and goddesses that came out of his culture. I said, tap into that. Tap into that energy. Those thought forms, they live there. That's part of that's embedded in your genetics because your ancestors. That's what they did. They prayed to these gods and goddesses. They sacrificed to them. They've devoted a lot of mental and physical energy toward them. Built temples. Yeah, I mean, the list goes on and on. Capitalize on that, tap into that energy, and use that, incorporate that with your radionics. Now, would that very same scenario work for somebody, say, on the other side of the world in the United States that was not, that really didn't have a lot to do with Greek culture? Probably not as much as it would with this guy. But again, that's part of his heritage. He's surrounded by it, and so. And, it's kind of like a case by case basis. And the point of that is, This is your, this is your narrative, your paradigm. This is your belief system. This is what works for you, and it works. It's something I wouldn't feel comfortable about it. So if I was to do the same things you did, just because of my belief system, I would not have the results you have. Even
Mm-hmm.
though we're working with the same entities, everything like that, I would not have the same kind of results you have because it doesn't resonate with me, the operator.
Yep,
It's
and I do that totally makes sense. Actually, something I was talking with EA just over text a few situations, and one thing I
mm-hmm.
really realized is, I don't work under any spirit. I'm not some okay. Now do this, do that. No, we're good. We're good. I'm working with you.
Right.
Working with you. Everything is of a positive nature, and it's not just for. Sometimes it's for a selfish intent, but not all of it. For me, I
Right.
see that grand vision. So it's like, what else can be changed to reality of my own that eventually could be a ripple then help out X, Y, and Z. Years down the line. So I
Mm-hmm.
just know that the spirits do see that, and that's kind of how for myself I'm able to cross certain rivers. Now I wouldn't have anyone else do, or I couldn't tell anyone else to do some of the stuff I do, because
Mm-hmm.
3 years ago I wouldn't know what I'd be doing, what I'm doing right now, and even 5 years ago I'd be blown away with where I'm at compared to where I was
Mm-hmm.
then.
Right.
So
Right.
it's just all part. It's a part of the evolution and the growth with it all, but yeah, definitely tapping into your ancestors and what their belief systems were. There is something to do with your blood and that flow and your
Mm-hmm.
just your body and just everything about you that makes that part a little bit easier, to tap into. But if you never went to India and you want to tap into a different culture or anything along, or Japan for Shintoism or whatever, go
Mm-hmm.
for it, because at the end of the day, it does come down to your intent. And that's what these machines are, intent manifestation makers. Buy it
Exactly.
now.
Buy it now. Yeah.
well,
Exactly.
well, that's all the questions I had for tonight. And so,
Okay.
yeah, I just thank you so much for coming on,
My
answering these
pleasure.
questions. And, everyone, if you have any questions, I'm going to have our emails down below, as well as the sites where to get any machines made. And definitely just keep on watching. And, anything else you want to leave the audience with, Dr. Mulder?
I think that's it for the night. Like I said, it's just, I hopefully we were able to answer people's questions sufficiently. And if there's any other questions, or if there's anything that maybe people may have a little bit of they just need a little extra information on, don't hesitate to, let El know about it, and I'll be more than happy to, if he needs me to help him with anything, I'm more than happy to answer any questions. So, all
Awesome,
right.
awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dan. You have an excellent night, and I'll talk soon.
You do the same. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.